What if the book that guides billions contains verses so dark, so brutal, that they challenge the very foundation of faith? Verses where the language is clear, the meaning undeniable, and the actions described atrocities. Today, we're diving into the Bible's most heinous passages, ones that can't be dismissed as out of context or softened by interpretation. These are the verses that make even the most devout pause, the ones that demand answers. Are you ready to confront them? In this video, we're not here to attack faith. We're here to explore it. The Bible is a cornerstone of moral teaching, but it also holds verses that, by any modern standard, are indefensible. From infanticide to sanctioned violence, these passages are stark, brutal, and impossible to ignore. We'll examine why they're so hard to defend, why context doesn't soften their blow, and what they mean for believers today. Let's begin with a verse that stops you cold. Psalm 137:9 reads, "Happy is the one who seizes your infants and dashes them against the rocks." Yes, you heard that right. A verse that celebrates the killing of babies. It's not a metaphor. It's not symbolic. It's a raw, vengeful cry from the Israelites in Babylonian exile, longing for retribution against their captors. This isn't God commanding violence. It's a human emotion, a psalmist's rage. But that doesn't make it less horrifying. The language is explicit, the imagery visceral. There's no context that softens this. It's a stark reminder that the Bible contains not just divine wisdom, but human darkness. For Christians, this verse is a gut punch. How do you reconcile a God of love with a verse that revels in brutality? It's a question with no easy answer. Some argue it's poetic hyperbole, but that doesn't erase the horror. Others say it reflects the psalmist's pain, not God's will. Fair, but the verse remains raw, unfiltered, and impossible to ignore. Its clarity and brutality make it one of the hardest to defend, a window into a vengeance that feels all too human. In Genesis 19:8, Lot, a man called righteous by the Bible, offers his virgin daughters to a violent mob to be raped. His words, "Look, I have 2 daughters who have never slept with a man. Let me bring them out to you, and you can do what you like with them." This isn't ambiguous. Lot's actions are clear. He's willing to sacrifice his daughters to protect strangers. And here's the kicker: the Bible never condemns him for it. In fact, he's later spared from Sodom's destruction. For modern readers, this is indefensible. It's a father betraying his children in the most horrific way, and yet Scripture doesn't flinch. Christians often point to cultural context. Hospitality was sacred, and Lot was protecting his guests. But does that justify offering his daughters? The language leaves no room for misinterpretation, and the act itself is an atrocity. It's a verse that exposes the Bible's patriarchal roots and challenges believers to confront the moral dissonance. Defending it feels impossible when the text itself offers no rebuke. Leviticus 26:14-33 is a litany of divine terror. God warns, "If you do not obey me, I will bring on you sudden terror, wasting diseases and fever. I will set my face against you. You will eat the flesh of your sons and daughters." It's not a threat. It's a promise of devastation. This isn't symbolic. It's God spelling out the consequences of disobedience in brutal detail: cannibalism, plagues, exile. It's a horror show, and it's not a one-off. Deuteronomy 28 echoes the same curses. For believers, this is a theological landmine. How do you square a loving God with one who threatens cannibalism? Apologists say it's about covenant loyalty, not cruelty. But the language is stark. There's no softening it. The clarity of God's voice here, listing atrocities as punishment. makes it one of the toughest for Christians to rationalize. It's not a human act, it's divine will laid bare in all its terror. Exodus 21:20-21 says, "If a man beats his slave with a rod and the slave dies, he must be punished. But if the slave survives a day or two, he is not to be punished, for the slave is his property." Let that sink in. It's okay to beat your slave as long as they don't die immediately. This isn't a misinterpretation. The Bible explicitly condones slavery and regulates its violence. It's a verse that clashes violently with modern ethics, and yet it's there, clear, unarguable. For Christians, it's a stumbling block. How do you defend a God who allows this? Some argue it was progressive for its time, limiting abuse, but that's cold comfort. The verse still sanctions brutality, and its legalistic tone, treating humans as property, offers no wiggle room. It's a raw reflection of its era's values, and that clarity makes it nearly impossible to argue against without confronting the Bible's historical baggage. Judges 19:22-29 tells a story so horrific it's almost unbearable. A Levite's concubine is gang-raped all night, left for dead. Her master finds her, takes her home, and cuts her body into 12 pieces, sending them across Israel. It's a tale of dehumanization, violence, and indifference. There's no sugar-coating this. The Bible presents it as a catalyst for civil war, but the woman's suffering is a footnote. For believers, it's a verse that screams for justice, yet the text offers none. The language is graphic, the events undeniable, an atrocity laid out in plain sight. Christians often struggle with this story, calling it a cautionary tale about lawlessness, but that doesn't erase the horror. The clarity of the narrative, no condemnation, no redemption for the victim, makes it one of the hardest to defend. It's a verse that forces us to confront the Bible's raw humanity and its silence on the victim's pain. These verses aren't easy. They're not meant to be. They challenge, provoke, and unsettle. But that's the point. Faith isn't about comfort, it's about truth. The Bible doesn't hide its dark side, it lays it bare. For believers, these passages demand wrestling, not dismissal. They remind us that Scripture is a mirror, reflecting both divine light and human shadow. So, what do we do with them? We face them, we question them, we let them deepen our understanding of God, humanity, and the messy intersection of both. Because in the end, faith isn't about having all the answers. It's about seeking them, even when the path is hard. If this video stirred something in you, hit like and subscribe for more deep dives into Scripture's toughest questions. And don't forget to share your thoughts below. How do you make sense of these verses? Let's wrestle together.